Hey y'all, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are carrying right on with the spring content and making this beautiful aged terracotta pot wreath. If you want to learn how to make this, then keep watching. So I have these new terracotta pots that I'm going to use on our wreath, but first I want to age them. So I've got these 3 different sizes. I've got this larger size, this smaller size, kind of 2 sizes of that, and then I have a bunch of these little ones. You may remember these from when I made a bell swag for Christmas. So I'm gonna put these to good use on our wreath. But first, I want to make it look like this. This pot has been sitting outside since last summer, and so I'm going to use it as a guide. You can see all of the mossy brown and green color, and then we've got this just build up from the rain and sitting on the ground, and then it's even a little drippy from where it was sitting like upside down. So I'm going to use this as a reference point and try and make it look, instead of like this, more like this. So I have mixed some just white acrylic paint with maybe about 1 part paint to 2 part water. It looks like milk, but don't drink it. I am going to use a paintbrush and a sponge to just kind of give it a little bit of a whitewash, and then I'll go in more with the texture of the sponge to make it a little muddier and messier and not so perfect. Okay, so now I have a reddy brown and kind of a mossy olivey green, and I'm going to use a paper towel, the sponge, and the brush, and just kind of use different techniques to make this still not look so new. So I'm going to use this sponge, and I dip it a little bit in the paint and then blot most of it off, kind of like when you're using a stencil. And I'm going to focus on areas around the bottom and under the rim, and then kind of inside the pot, places where your algae or your kind of buildups will naturally occur. And this is going to help add those layers in that we want, so that it looks newly taken out of the yard and not like I just painted it. So, and then sometimes I'll go in with the paper towel, and then I might go in with more white or more of the terracotta muddy brown color. I am just building up layers as I go. I put a little bit on my sponge, and then I move it around the pot, and then I put some maybe on the paper towel and do that. And I'm just, like I said, building up layers to where it looks a little bit more authentic. So as the last layer of the aging that I'm going to add to this terracotta pot, it's taking some just plain white paint that is not watered down in a paper towel and just going over those same specified areas, the top rim, the inside of the pot, and then around the bottom, those places where that buildup would naturally occur due to being outside or time and age. And then I'm also going to take the watered down white paint and add a few drips on the inside as well. And then this is how it turned out. Okay, I've played around with a few of these. So there's this one. This is the second one I did. This is the first one. And then this is the latest one that I did. And this one is my favorite, and it honestly took the least amount of work. And so I'm going to show you what I did on this one because I think it looks the most like this one in terms of showing the age. So I'm just going to take my paper towel and I'm going to scrunch it up. And I started with a base of white, but not all over, like a lot of people will tell you to do. I'm getting just a little bit of white on there, and then I'm dabbing it off. And then I'm going to start on the bottom, and I want to mimic that, and I think it's already looking pretty good. So I'm going to go heavy in some areas and then purposefully not add more so it's splotchy and sporadic. I might even have too much here, so I'm going to wipe it a little bit. I'm going to get a little bit from where I dabbed, and that picks up some of the other colors. And then again, I'm just dabbing along the bottom. Now I'm going to take even less white paint and try and mimic this up here. Just rubbing it along. It's just giving me like a little bit of a cloudy look. And now here is where I will start kind of using all of this good stuff. I'll get the tiniest bit of the white and dab that off, but I'm going to dab it in all of the colors, and it's kind of giving me this pinky neutral, and then I'm going to use that to very lightly do a layer up here. I'm going to add in a little bit of brown to the white this time. Just kind of dab all of that together until I have almost no paint on here. And then I'm just going to kind of brush it on like that, just because the terracotta is too bright. You want to kind of touch a little bit of every surface to almost tone it down. That was too much paint. I'm going to get just a tiny bit of the brown. And again, I'm kind of mixing it in that paint, and it's just making just the slightest bit of color there. And I'm rubbing it along the top, and I'm going to rub it in on the middle. I'm going to get some of the green this time and some of the brown. And like I said, I am completely dabbing that off to where I have almost no paint on there. But I'm getting just a little bit of the paint in the lip of the pot. Get a little bit of green in there. Maybe just a touch more of just the white. See, I'm rubbing it in there, but then I am dabbing it to make it a lot more splotchy. And so now I think the top looks good. And now I want to make it more of this brown color. So now I'm just going to do the brown and the green together. And then I'm just going to be kind of bathing this in that over the white, over everything. This is like liquid age here. I had a little bit too much green that time, so I'm not going to add any more of that. I'm going to add more of that brown color. And I don't know what it is about just kind of rubbing it on with the paper towel. It just really works. Adding in a little more of that green. If there's like just the tiniest little bit of the green, it really makes the reddy brown look just dirty, which is perfect. Again, just the tiniest little bit of wet. Sometimes I'm dabbing it, sometimes I'm rubbing it. Definitely going over all of this white so that it doesn't look too perfect. But then see, I have some kind of like strokes that you can see. So I'm going to go back in, and that'll be a good place for a little bit lighter of the brown. So I'm going to add some white in there. And I'm kind of mixing as I'm dabbing, and then I dab more to get it off. And then I'll dab over that to make it just look muddier. You don't want it to look clean. You want it to look muddy. Some of this white, still a little too bright for me. So just muddying that up some more. And now, and every time I kind of make a side, I just kind of fold it. That way I get the most use out of it. So now I'm adding a little bit of green in with just the tiniest bit of white. And I get this like sagey, mossy color. And again, I'm just adding textures and layers to the top. And if I see, again, spots that look too perfect, I am going over them with a layer of another color. So this combination was some of the brown, some of the white, and then some of the green to really muddy up that brown. Remember, we want it to just look dirty, like it's been sitting outside for a long time. And I think that looks pretty good. Can you hear the storm outside? It is insane. My goodness, y'all. I almost had a heart attack because in that pot that I showed y'all that was actually aged from being outside for a year, I noticed that there was a spider in the pot. And I was like, okay, we're just not gonna bother it. It looks fine. Well, I just looked at the pot and the spider was not there. Excuse me, what? Where did you go? No one told you you could vacate that and come into my house. What? No, I don't do spiders. I don't do bugs. I don't do creepy crawly things. No. Get out. But then I saw it a little deeper down in the pot, so we're good. Now to attach these pots to this grapevine wreath, I'm going to use some floral wire. I have really been getting the most out of this bunch of floral wire that I caught a while back, but I am threading the wire through the drainage hole and then kind of pulling it all the way around the wreath and attaching it securely in the back, just twisting it as much as I can. I'm using a good bit of wire for each of the pots to secure it in place really well. And when I'm placing the pots, they're just kind of random. I'm moving them around this way and that. And sometimes I will weave the wire through some of the grapevines to give it a little bit of extra security, but that's pretty much what I'm going to do all the way around this entire wreath. And I tried to use those two big pots you see in the bottom right there, but they were too heavy and they looked silly in proportion to these other ones. So I'm only going to use the smaller size and the second smallest size and put this wreath together. Y'all, obsessed doesn't even begin to cover how I feel about this wreath. It is so cute and was so fun to make. And what a great way to use up all of those extra little thrifted clay pots I found at the thrift store. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider giving it a like and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. As always, thank you so much for stopping by the mansion. Bye-bye.